Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. Today, we are sort of uncharacteristically not at the rifle range because there was no good reason to go over there to film this particular video. And there's several reasons for that. First of all, this rifle, this Winchester Model 1886, which is unloaded and does have an empty chamber, doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to my dad. It's a friend's rifle. Second of all, it's worth a fair amount of money, and it's probably going to be for sale relatively soon, and we don't want to risk wrecking it. And thirdly, the ammunition, which I will discuss in a few minutes for this rifle, is particularly uncommon and particularly expensive. I have a small cache of the ammo for this rifle, actually, but the 4 boxes of ammo I have are probably worth as much or more than the rifle itself is worth. So I'm just not going to shoot this thing to make a video, although we certainly could. Actually, we couldn't. I forgot to bring the ammunition with me. I wanted to have a box here to show you. It is chambered for 33 Winchester center fire. Says it right here on the barrel. The Winchester Model 1886 was developed by John Browning. It was, I think, Browning's second design for the Winchester company. I think the Browning, the dropping block Browning design, the high wall and the low wall, came before the 1886. And I think that this was Browning's first lever action design for Winchester. And to look at this rifle, I've seen the 1886 before, but I've really never had a chance to handle one much until we got this one. And again, we don't really have it. It's in my possession for a brief period. But it wasn't until I could handle this rifle and feel it a little bit that you get an appreciation for just how massive this rifle is. It's much bigger than most of the other lever action rifles that Winchester made, barring the, I guess, what is it, the 1895 or whatever that was radically different, which was also quite big and was chambered for powerful cartridges like the 30-06 and the 35 Whelen and things like that. But as far as mid-19th century lever action rifles go, this one is really massive. And it was chambered primarily during the black powder period when it was first introduced in really massive sort of black powder express cartridges. This was sort of the American Express rifle of its day. It was chambered for popular cartridges like the 4570 and the 4590, which today are still chambered in lever action rifles of very, very strong design. It's got this massive steel receiver, and it has 2 very large locking blocks that engage cutouts in the rear end of the bolt here, which provides a great deal of locking strength. And really, when it came time, when the smokeless era started, right around the turn of the 20th century, it was simply a matter of adopting a nickel steel barrel when they went to chamber the rifle for 33 Winchester centerfire. 33 Winchester centerfire is not very well known today. It's certainly by no means a rare cartridge, but it's rare to find it, especially in its loaded form today. But it was a really a huge step up from the sort of slow, ponderous black powder cartridges that this rifle was designed for. The 33 Winchester centerfire throws a 200 grain bullet at a maximum of about 2,400 feet per second, so that's giving you about 2,600 foot-pounds of energy. And the 33 Winchester centerfire is oftentimes described as being in the same class as, say, for instance, the 35 Remington. And when you hold the cartridge in your hand, I will show you once I get back home and I have the cartridges available to me again. When you hold it in your hand next to a 30-30 Winchester, it doesn't look like it would be particularly more powerful than the 30-30. It is a bit bigger, but it looks like it would be in the same realm. But in fact, the 33 Winchester centerfire has a significant power advantage over the 30-30 or the 35 Remington. This was a really powerful cartridge in a very strong built rifle, and really was big medicine. I mean, if you were looking for a powerful hunting rifle in the end of the 18th century, a powerful repeating hunting rifle towards the end of the 18th century, and even well into the beginning of the 19th century, or well into the beginning of the 20th century, it would have been very hard to beat the Winchester Model 1886. This particular example has been used a lot, but it's not in deplorable condition. It's just in very well used condition. I don't think that this particular rifle, for instance, would be a good candidate to send off to someone like Doug Turnbull to spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a complete restoration. The stock is in pretty good shape. It's worn, but there are no cracks or even significant chips. There are some scratches and things. Most of the case hardening is gone from the receiver, but the receiver isn't rusted or pitted at all. A lot of the bluing is missing from the lever, but again, no rusting or pitting. The barrel is in quite good condition. I think that this rifle is best, particularly if you're the one that ends up buying it. This is probably best left in the condition it's in now. The bore is actually excellent in this rifle. It is neat as a pin, very sharp rifling, very bright, absolutely beautiful. This rifle looks like it was carried a lot and shot not very much. It's not entirely original. You may have already noticed the rear sight is missing, and that probably should have a filler block in it. Whoever removed the rear sight just left the dovetail empty. No big deal. If this was my rifle, I would probably put a filler block in there. And in place of the original rear sight, we have a Marbles tang-mounted peep sight. These are kind of rudimentary, but very nice peep sights. Of course, it gives you a longer sighting radius, and it's a little bit more intuitive. The only problem I have with tang sights is it's a bit difficult to hold the rifle for shooting. I never know where to put my thumb exactly. I know the kids today are all putting their thumb alongside the wrist of the stock here, and nobody grips the stock anymore, but I'm a dinosaur. I like to put my thumb over the top of the grip, and this does get in the way a little bit. So that's a nice upgrade, but it probably does affect the value of the rifle. It is marked Marble, Gladstone, Michigan. Not sure exactly when this sight was added, but probably quite some time ago. And I don't know what sort of front sight the rifle would have had originally. The integral ramp is obvious, or base is obviously still there. But the front sight is actually a Lyman model, and it appears to have an ivory bead in there. So overall, just a really neat rifle. It's kind of cool that when the bolt is open, the tang sight ends up in this little cutout for the hammer in the back of the bolt, and that never actually impacts the sight, but it comes very, very close. What else can I say? One of the most important things about this particular rifle is it is a takedown model. You can see there is a joint here, and it's kind of ingenious how the rifle is taken down. You open the bolt. There's a bit of a lever here on the front of the magazine tube. That flips up, and it acts as sort of a wrench handle. Unfortunately, once the thing is loose, you can't just spin it off. You've got to keep going through these gymnastic contortions to unscrew the mag, because this will not clear the barrel in any of its positions. So you've just got to keep flipping it back and forth, and maybe, can I get it? No. I'll speed this up a little bit. When this becomes completely unscrewed, you simply remove the magazine tube, and that comes out entirely with the magazine follower and everything intact. And leaving the bolt unlocked, you simply twist, and we've got an interrupted thread right here. It looks very much like an Ithaca Model 37 shotgun barrel, that same sort of interrupted thread. So it's simply a 90-degree turn and pull the barrel out. And then, of course, if you've got a nice fitted carrying case, you could transport the rifle in a very compact package. So that's pretty cool. And to put it back together is simply a reverse of taking it apart. Oh, you gotta have the barrel. You have to have the bolt open. Simply a reverse of taking it apart. That rotates in until it lines up, and then we simply screw the magazine tube back into the gun. Not the fastest takedown procedure in the world, but it is quite secure. And the nice thing about this little lever is if somebody screwed the magazine tube in a little too tightly, this will give you some added leverage to get it unscrewed again. There we go. And lock that lever down, and the rifle's ready to go. So I guess I don't really have a lot else to say about the 1886. It's just that we had this here. It's a really cool rifle. It's a really big rifle. I would love to purchase this myself, but as I said, I do have some ammunition for this, but I really can't afford to shoot it. The ammunition is worth something like $28 per cartridge. So 4 boxes of ammo is, I don't know, something like $3,000. And if I had this rifle, the good news is if you do get one of these in 33 Winchester centerfire, and you have loading dies, and you have a way to cast the correct bullets, you can form brass from 4570 brass and cast your own bullets. You can make ammunition for this relatively inexpensively, but you have to jump through a bunch of hoops and do a lot of work to do it. And the truth is, I simply don't have the money. Well, I can't justify spending the money on this rifle, which I would probably almost never shoot. I'm not a Winchester collector. This is much better off in the hands of somebody who can truly appreciate it and keep it in the manner to which it has grown accustomed. Well, no, actually, this has been sitting in a gun case in the back of a closet for decades, so I don't think actually it should be kept like that. But hopefully somebody will get their hands on this and decide what they want to do with it and appreciate it fully. So you probably won't be seeing this particular rifle again, but I will have some more videos coming up very soon. The shooting season is upon us. And when I post my next episode, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.